rappers and music producers. It's Curtis King, CurtisKingBeats.com, and we are back for another episode of What Do Beat Buying Rappers Want? This is the show or the series where we basically ask my specific customers, what are some of their buying habits? Why do they lease beats? We ask them all kind of questions that you should be asking your own customers, but I took it upon myself to start speaking with the very talented individuals that just so happen to purchase from Curtis King Beats, and today is no exception. Hemingway from the East Coast. Hemingway, you've been tagging me in some Instagram posts, and obviously see that I'm production credits and on stuff, and I always love to see when artists do go that route and do bring the producer into the fold of the promotion, right? So I first and foremost thank you for being here. But yeah, Hemingway, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been a recording artist.
Okay, yeah, man. Well, again, thank you for having me, man, and thank you for reaching out. I go by the name of Hemingway. I'm a Carolina representative, Carolina hip hop artist, South Carolina to be exact. Grew up in the Myrtle Beach area. Most people, if they know anything about South Carolina Beach, for vacation purposes, so that's pretty much like the highlight of that state. And yeah, man, I've been making music since 2009. Just try to give it to you short form. I started out rapping. I kind of did it a little bit through high school. Like I was always a hip hop fan. Started out as a fan first. Like I love music and everything like that. I never really was into that. I was doing sports, and then it's like as soon as I graduated, I did one talent show my senior year, and I was actually singing. And then as soon as I graduated, I was like, I don't know about the singing thing, but I'm a rap. And then I started rapping, and from there on out, I'm like, I think it'll be like, or like the top of the year, it'll be like 9 years for me that I've been rap for like the first year or two. Then I was like, let me figure out this engineering thing, because studio time costs a lot. So I started taking classes for that. Been engineering like pretty legit for about the last 4 years now. And ironically, like one of your videos said, man, you were telling like the young producers about, how to kind of take care of your clientele, because some of these rappers, they might, start making their own beats. I always wanted to do it, and I've been taking my shot at it for a while, just like kind of shooting shots. So, you probably been there before, but I'm right at beat number 42 right now.
Uh-oh. Look, when I speak on these things, I'm not speaking out my ass. And I know a lot of people be trying to be like, oh, Curtis, you just trying to, basically create some fear. And it's like, I don't have to create any fear. If the fear is there, that's personal issue. But Hemingway is telling you straight up that he has been a recording artist, and in the nature of being a DIY artist, you have found your way in multiple creative ventures as an engineer, as a producer. You're on beat 42. So let me ask you this. So I'm probably predating this to the very early stages of you making beats, but as an artist, what actually attracted you to leasing beats online?
For me, man, it was really, I definitely can admit I was one of those guys. Like when I first started rapping, I didn't really know about, and when I first started rapping, it was '09. So that between '09 and 2012, that was like a major shift into where we are now as far as the internet game and the industry and all that and leasing. So didn't really know about whatever, but I had somebody, I leased a bunch of beats for EP, did it, and from what I understood, I thought that I basically had the exclusives or whatever. So what got me into leasing was I needed beats, and then I started, doing my Googles and my research and everything, and started seeing, okay, there's a lease option and stuff like that. So I'm like, the only lease I know is like leasing a car. So I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense,
Right.
So I was like, I guess I kind of get that. I don't own it, but whatever. Yeah, my first project, I ended up leasing beats, but it was from a guy that I knew in the same city as me, so it wasn't really over the internet. But that was my introduction into leasing, and kind of just knowing the difference of leases, exclusives, things like that.
Got it. So you basically educated yourself just using the Googles and whatnot. And really, I put a lot of pressure on producers, because I feel like that is our responsibility to educate our consumer. The more intelligent the person that is purchasing from us is or feels from experiencing with us, the more likely they are to not only continue to follow us as a brand, but also to invest more into our businesses. Out of curiosity, how did you, in the midst of you going to this local artist or local producer who was leasing beats, how in the hell you find Curtis King Beats? How did that even happen?
So, fast forward the situation with kind of coming across you, man. Excuse me, I think I'm getting a little sick, man. But so it's 2018 now. I think I came across your YouTube page in like 2016.
Just in general.
YouTube.
So it was through you. It wasn't through advertisements, through YouTube first.
Yeah,
Okay.
I came across you and your brand through YouTube first, specifically, and then I think whatever the first video was, it wasn't production off rip. I think it was one of your rapper producer 911s or something like that before you kind of switched it over. Yeah, so I don't know if those were kind of your first videos doing
Yeah, no, those are my first
what you're
ones.
doing now, but I think that's what I thought. So I kind of came around in the beginning, and I just was just looking for different motivation. And of course,
Right.
when I found you, I was specifically looking for music motivation. But did that, then I looked and I was like, okay, he produces, he makes beats. I checked out your music. I was like, music is dope. The backstory, of course, you having the industry route that you came and now
Right.
coming to where you are. And I mean, yeah, so I just been following ever since because, of course, the music was always dope. Your intro, man, your old intro that was my favorite. Is it the song called Jubilee or the project called Jubilee? I
Oh,
can't listen to you.
Yeah, yeah. I can't listen to you. Yeah, yeah. That was the old outro for the Curspirations. Yeah, man. Yeah, you bring up some good
Yeah,
memories on that one.
yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
What?
That once I heard that was I fell in love with it. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I appreciate it. And I'll say something that's very interesting about what you said because it does lead me to another question. But before I get to that question, I want to make sure that I'm hammering home the point that it wasn't necessarily my advertisements on SoundClick. It wasn't me shoving a bunch of links down social media's throat. It wasn't any of that. It was me creating content that literally attracted someone who classified themselves as a rapper. And creating this YouTube channel is what gave me the opportunity to be like, you know what? I need to be able to not only attract these these rappers, these artists, these singers. I need to be able to give them something that's going to make them feel like, you know what? I rock with him and I want to know more about his story. He just said that he knew my story from the YouTube channel, which is super crazy to me because you guys see, I hardly advertise my beat page or hardly advertise that I even make beats. It's just kind of an assumed notion because of the type of stuff that I do. That being said, so you watched the YouTube videos, then you went to the page. What initially from listening to the beats caught your attention?
From the beats overall with you, it was just something like when I hear beats, I can I feel like I can tell when a producer online is making like their own style beats or putting themselves into the music, like kind of just doing something that's like you can tell is just coming off from the type of person that they are. And the music that the beats that you make, it just seems like it's unique to Curtis King. And then,
Right.
and of course, as much as we are aware of like branding, like it just I don't know. Even though you make a variety of beats, like it just kind of fits overall as like your brand, your site. It looks good, the music fits, and then as far as how it sounds, it's just unique. It stands out from a lot. Like I search pages, and like I'm not necessarily huge, or I wasn't huge on shopping online, but I've gotten to the point to buy
Okay.
more beats online. But when I do listen, I try like if I hear some before I really got to know and trigger my ear what sounds were like snares and kicks and drums or whatever.
Right.
Like I would listen to beats and like if it sounded like the sounds that was in like the new Future song or whatever, I didn't want it. Like I didn't want to
Oh
hear it or whatever
wow.
because it's like I'm one of those guys. Like I didn't want
Yeah.
the actual what's hot. So like some of the stuff that you do, even if it might be the same instrument or sound, you don't do it the same way. Like a long snare roll or like the little
Right.
hot, certain stuff like that. So
Yeah.
your stuff was just unique and it stood out in a way like that.
And I
It didn't
appreciate
sound like everybody else.
And I appreciate you saying that because I think that once again, it's the second thing that, the first interview that we had was with an artist, Hayden Jamal, that has been supporting me for quite some time. And his one thing he said was that what I enjoyed the most was the uniqueness of the sound. And the fact I felt some real emotion listening to the music. It didn't sound
Right.
like you were trying to be this person or trying to be this person. You were just, I'm just going to be who I am. Right. And, I think that's something
Right.
that gets overlooked from producers is that in a rush to try to create as many type beats as possible because they've all typecasted you as an artist as just you want what the people who are in the mainstream already have, right? They typecast you and feel like, well, what about you're unique? What about who Hemingway is? You want to tell that
Right.
story, and you can't tell that story using Little Yachty beats. Not to say there's anything wrong with those, but you
Right.
have a story that is unique to your aesthetic. So I'm glad that you made that point. How would you classify yourself as an artist? Like when if somebody was looking through a similar artist list or a certain style, like you got your lyricist, you got your, what would you say that you kind of classify yourself as?
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I've been going back and forth with myself about that for the past like 3 years or so because
Okay.
I would say I think 2014 as far as like 2014 I rebranded, like I switched my name, I had a different name, stuff like that. And since then I've been kind of trying to figure out exactly where I fit, because
What
just
was your
like
name before?
my prior stage name, I went by dreads. I'm growing my dreads again, and I had longer dreads, but I just, it was like a high school nickname. And of course, yeah, and of course, being a rapper, I tried to make it like an acronym or whatever. It was
Right.
over the top, but
That's what we
anyway,
do.
yeah, exactly. But it was dreads, DREADZ, and my old football number was 31, so all my tags were dreads 31. I still got content up from like
Okay.
2011,
Okay.
stuff like that. But so at that point, I had dreads for like 11 years. Cut my hair off like straight to like a little low fade, and I was just like, the only thing I don't know, I was just kind of soul searching as an artist. I don't know if I'm sure you probably been through that, but trying to find myself,
Sure.
figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I hadn't done at that point was like cut my hair, so I was like, let me do
Let's go
something
for that. Yeah.
drastic. And yeah, exactly. So anyways, with that, I think your question was like how where do I
What do you
like do, kind of
classify?
find
Yeah.
myself
In 2018, what do you classify?
as an artist. So I've had people give me feedback about certain artists over the times, and now it's still tough. But like, I guess if you were searching a similar artist, man, I feel like I'm right there in between like a Crit and a Big Sean. And I don't know if that's vague or not, but it's
No,
like,
that's good.
I'm one.
Yeah.
And if I can find maybe hopefully a middle ground, like I always compare myself to artists like a Ludacris or a Busta Rhymes, because I felt like I could bring a like animation to a flow, and then I feel like I have the ability to do kind of like the popular hit songs type style, and then of course I could still do a song with the message, like Ludacris has like Runaway Love,
Sure.
Busta Rhymes has multiple songs where it's, both, and so you have like a Big Sean who he has ass, and then he has like some, I'm sorry if I don't know.
Right. No, you're good. No, you're good.
Cuss,
You're
but-
good. You're good.
And then yeah, and then those types of songs that go, back and forth. So I can do both. Like I have songs where I'm very lyrical and I'm very serious and I have a message, and then I have songs where it's like, I turn up and I have fun and it can almost be no real point.
Right. But I think that's important. It shows that, first and foremost, you're a human being, and no human being is one thing all the time.
Right.
If we were one thing all the time, we would go crazy, right? So we have to be our times where we get turned, or we got our times where we turn down and we just want to relax and we don't want to hear nothing else that's over a certain decibel. But I think that's just you showing yourself as a human being. Quick question: how important are tight beats to when you're searching for beats?
I'm real, like, I don't know, I'm real specific. So tight beats, I can admit I was one of those artists at first. Like I was probably like certain, I don't know, maybe like OG producers who didn't really understand the tight beat thing.
Right.
First of all, me as an artist, I like to give people their credit. So I always give everybody their credit. So I'm like, first of all, this isn't a Drake type beat, or this isn't a Ray Sherman type beat. This is a 40 type beat. This is a Mike Will type beat. So, but anyway,
no, I feel you on that.
That I was one of those, but I didn't really get it, because I was like, if I get this, I'm gonna sound like this type of artist. That's not what I'm going for. But then I started to also understand that the point of it is it's marketing for the producer, but then at the same time, like algorithms and all that. But then it's also like it is a way for you to, I guess, if you want to have a similar sound, you can go for it. Right. The importance for me, if I go one of two ways if I'm looking for beats online. I either like the beat that I particularly got from you. I like the beat, I listened to the beat, and I wrote a song to that beat, because that was the closest way I could feel like to us creating, kind of like in person.
Right.
But then there are situations where like I'll have a song and I either just come up with a song, just out of just raw words, and or I have it written to an old beat, and then there's a situation that comes up, and then I search for a beat that fits that song. So when I do it that way, I search for tight beats, because I might have done it to a beat that sounded like, whatever type trap beat, and then it's easier for me to find it that way if I do that. So I feel like the tight beats, it's I get it, and I'm definitely a fan of it now, or I'm a fan of online production now and producers that are out there.
Right.
Still, I know the tight beats thing. There are some producers who literally just do it just to, there's not really a long-term goal. And then there's some people who have a business plan. So
yeah, no, I me, my channel, the way that I like to conduct business. There's always a why. If you're going to be doing tight beats, I always say, what is your why in this situation? Is it literally because you do understand SEO, and because you do want to be competitive and you want to expose your music to as many people as possible that are relevant to the aesthetic of music that you make? Or are you doing it because another online producer who's making money is doing it? You just kind of following suit. So I think that you remind us the importance of the why. So the purpose of this series is definitely to understand your psychology, your mindset when you're buying beats. But as we start to kind of bring this to a close, can you give us a situation or a story in which you got the worst customer service from a music producer online, and what that looked like?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It was.
You don't have to mention a producer if you don't
say
want
any names or anything, but yeah, yeah. No, it's cool. It was a producer. I won't say any names, but it's a producer, pretty big producer, and he's known. But as far as industry wise, but ironically, just like you hit me up, man. I mean, obviously I have to beat from you. We did some business, so I was tagging you. It's a different way I came up on your radar. Right. But the way you reached out to me to set up this interview, you just DM me, and this particular producer, I think what happened was it was. As far as like if I would have thought it would have been like the big situation I thought it was going to be when he hit me up, I remember I posted a video. It was me freestyling, and I ended up in the explore page. But like right when I posted it, it was like, I don't know, midnight. But I checked it one time and saw it, didn't screenshot it or anything. Went to sleep, woke up, whatever. But then the next day, this producer DM'd me, and I'm like, okay, cool. How did he find me? How did I come up on his radar? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I later remembered I popped up on the explore page. Anyway, long story short, he DM'd me the whole spiel about, hey, I like what you're doing. I want to help you out. Let's work. Cool. He hit me up. I'm already aware of how this could possibly be the scam, how it could be a scam. But so I'm like, okay, I'm on my toes, because I've been here with guys who are nobodies who tried to get money out of me, and I already been through that. But he's a producer who's actually somebody, and of course most artists always are in limbo in that situation. Like, is it going to be a big deal or is it not? So anyways, I mean, try to make a long story short, I paid $500. I got 4 beats. And once I paid for the beats, it was like 2 days later, I think I hit him up about something, or maybe like 2 or 3 days later, I hit him up about something, but he didn't respond. I was like, all right, whatever, I'll just wait and hit him up again. He's probably busy. And then somewhere within like that following week, another guy, ironically from Myrtle Beach, because I live in Charlotte right now, and I was in Charlotte when this happened, Charlotte, North Carolina. And another guy from Myrtle Beach who's on my Facebook, he popped up, and he has the same beat as me. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I know I paid this guy $500. I know I got 4 beats. I'm not necessarily a rookie,
You understand the business, yeah.
So I know they're not exclusive. Yeah, I know they're leases, but I'm just like, I tried to ask him. The text that I sent him was like, okay, so what are your terms, basically? That's what I was asking.
Right.
And he just basically ignored me. And then I ended up, when I posted it online, the video that I invested money in to shoot, I posted it online, and then the guy who had the beat, a whole other guy from the guy from Myrtle Beach, he had already had it claimed for I got a copyright claim or whatever.
Content ID.
Yeah, for content ID when I posted my video. So I'm like, all right, so I'm not gonna be able to even make any monetization off of this. And that was honestly the last.
Wow.
I did two beats of his that they were just great songs. He's an industry producer. So he's a great producer anyway. So it's like it brought out the best songs I ever made. And then the way the situation went out, it was like I couldn't really do much.
Oh man.
All in all with that story, I mean, it's still promo, so it's cool. I didn't necessarily lose, but I did do a lot with the songs and stuff. But all in all, what I get from that and what I try to ask is, if you have an online store and you're a producer, excuse me, if you have an online store, make sure, like if it's BeatStars or something like that, I think they set it up to where their terms are there, so you don't even have to worry about it. If you're doing like a website, like I have my own website to where I enter everything in myself, just make sure you have your terms or whatever listed for your beats. And then if you're just one of those producers, don't necessarily want to get a beat store, but like you just hit people up on Instagram or social media or whatever, that's cool. But just keep a screenshot or something of your terms or email of your terms and let artists know. That way they don't feel like they're getting played, because I know that if I get a couple beats from you and it's just the MP3 and I only spent so much money, I'm just gonna classify that as a lease and it's not whatever. But that way people know and they don't feel like and of course respond. Like if somebody hits you up, man, just
You would think
respond. So
that's
that's
common
just
sense,
yeah.
man. You would think that that's common sense by
Yeah, I
now,
just sent
but
you $500.
yeah, like I exactly, and I
And,
think that I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I was just gonna say, and of course, when as I forgot about this part. So as the money part goes, of course, it's like, okay, this guy's a popular producer. He's produced for I can't remember the song, but it's a Rick Ross and Nicki Minaj song. So if you put that together, cool. But he produced that song, and he was trying to he produced for other people in the industry, and I paid $500. I give him the money, and of course, when I send him the money, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm either gonna lose $500, I'm gonna get some whack beats, or I'm whatever. I just hope I get some beats back, because I could I could just send him the money and he could just send me nothing or whatever. But then he did send me the beats, and I was happy for that. But then like he was also trying to finesse a Juicy J verse for like an extra 500. But then I looked up the verse. And it was on like three other people's song, and they just all they like
No.
tempo shit. I'm
Fam.
one of those artists who do my research.
Yeah,
So
and I'm glad you
so
are,
yeah.
because you know what? You are a rarity in that you actually go do. I mean, and honestly, it's not that complicated to do, but it's just folks are too lazy to do it. And you just Googled,
Right.
you might even be able to Google a few lyrics. You might even be able to, just put it in just to see, okay, does a Juicy J verse pop up that has these exact words? And then once you see it, it's just like, oh, fam. Like, but I gotta say, a few things that I take away from that is that communication just seems to be a reoccurring theme. This is the third episode that I've done thus far with
Right.
the artists that have purchased beats from him, and communication seems to be the biggest issue. And communication comes in the form of actually responding back to emails, and communication also comes in the form of communicating what your license actually represents in very clear words in a very clear place. Here's the thing about it. Producers who look at it like, man, just buy the beats and go about your business. Those of you who feel that way, it's your fault that you get artists that are constantly hitting you up because you haven't answered the questions that they need. And it's the same. Can you imagine going to a supermarket and paying $500 and walking out with no groceries?
Man,
would you
yeah,
be like,
nah, I couldn't imagine.
and can you imagine going back in a grocery store and saying, hey, I just paid $500 for these groceries. Where are the groceries? First of all, I see they're over there somewhere, but how do I get to them? And they say, man, I ain't got time for that. And they never hit you up, or they never respond back to you. You'll be ready to burn down that supermarket. So why is it that it's different? Because we think of it as just beats, or you producers, you cannot overlook the importance of your customer service. I can't nail this home enough. And I got to say, Hemingway, you very articulately put that together in a brilliant way for folks to understand. Like, these are very common things we ask for, just not as rappers or producers, as human beings. Just communicate with me. I'm investing money with you. I'm breaking bread. Just communicate with me. Well, I got to say thank you for your time. Before we get out of here, folks got to know how to get to your music. How can they hear Hemingway? How can they follow you on your social medias? Share all that information with us, and we're going to have it pop down at the bottom of the screen.
All right, yeah, cool, man. So everybody, you can follow me on my social media. My personal social media is Hemingway the third. So it's HEMINGWAY, and then 3 lowercase i's at the end. I know it's kind of long, but that's my last name. It's my true name, so that's what I go by. And also, if you're trying to find my music, follow me there. You'll see it pop up. But you can also go to my website, which I'll be relaunching this Friday, and that is theleaderslegion.com. So leaders and then Legion, like leader Legion of Doom. So theleaderslegion.com, and you can check out all my music there.
Well, thank you, man. I got to say, first and foremost, personalized thank you for investing with Curtis King Beats. You don't have to invest with me, and I know my beats are different, and sometimes that's a good thing for some people, sometimes it's a bad thing for some people, but I say it says a lot more about you than it says about me when you invest into my production. So I got to just say thank you first and foremost, and thank you for your time, man. There's a lot of producers here that I'm sure are going to be very thankful for the information you shared today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm glad you had me on just to be able to talk and give my feedback, man. And I'm just happy to have a platform just to let people know how it is, man. There's some artists out there, to the producers who are looking for serious artists, there's some artists out there who are serious, and we're actually this mindset. So, if we come correct, we expect you to do the same. So we want it all to be mutual for everybody,
There it is. The community is stronger when we do things that way, and we understand that the same needs that you have, the same creative needs that you have, producers, are the same creative needs that a rapper has. And until we understand that, especially in the online spectrum and the independent spectrum, that we are all we got, then we're going to have more miscommunication issues and more horror stories. And it's my goal to limit as many of those horror stories as I can by sharing information and you know, by my man's Hemingway giving you some personalized stories of things that have happened with, you know, even some reputable producers. That lets you know, just because somebody has a name doesn't mean that they know how to do business. And, you know, that goes for a lot of people. But that's that. Once again, it's another episode of What Do Beat Buying Rappers Want? We were joined by Hemingway today. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel below. Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com. Peace. Please subscribe to the channel below. Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com.